and kick off things. Thank you, Caroline, for recording us. That's great. We're going to be pretty sharp on timings today because we have a fair amount to get through. Although when we get to the top of the hour, for those, especially if it's not too late, I'm just going to stay on for another 30 minutes. If anybody wants to catch up with me or discuss anything with me, that's 4 o'clock UK time. So we've got an hour to kick off and go through things. So, right, as people are coming in, so welcome everyone. Great to see all of you, all of our Global Tech Advocates leaders and our Tech London Advocate Working Group leaders. We've combined the event. We normally do separate events, but one of our presenters is a gentleman called David Monahan, who you're going to hear from shortly. He's the London Tech Week Festival Director, and I thought it would be great if he could give everyone an overview of London Tech Week, because I know many of our GTA groups are going to be coming to London Tech Week in June. So I just want to do a few quick introductions. I know it might be a little bit hard to scan the screen, but first I wanted to introduce Tracy Pereira. Tracy has joined as Head of Community and Corporate Development, part-time, supporting both TLA and GTA. And you're going to hear from Tracy shortly. I'm going to share a few slides quickly, and then she and I and Matit are going to talk to you a little bit later about a new initiative called Launchpad. We also, I believe, have our 4 GTA regional leaders on the call. So I can see Leslie Sarma. If you want to raise your hand, who's our GTA regional lead for Asia Pacific. I can see Jeanette right next to her, who is lead for Europe. Naomi Timperley, who's the GTA regions lead for the UK, because we have lots of groups in the UK there. And then we have Lanny Medina, where it's very early in California, who is our regional lead for Asia Pacific. So great to have all of you here, and just wanted to make sure that everybody else knew who you were and the roles that you're taking on. The five of them are very much working and helping me to support all the activities that we've got going across Global Tech Advocates and Tech London Advocates. So if they reach out to you and ask to meet with you or ask for some information, please respond accordingly, because sometimes that's also coming from me as well. And as you know, I can't be in all places at once, especially when we can see how many people are on this call. So great to have all of them on board. Now, I want to make a few more quick introductions, and just to introduce some new folks. So I saw Sandra here, Sandra Sinoko, and also I haven't seen Henry, but Henry may be here, Henry Suzuki. Sandra and Henry are going to lead a new Tech Brazil Advocates group, which is we're planning to launch in May. We're finalizing the date of the actual launch, but great to have Sandra and Henry co-leading that group. I don't know if Dickie is here. Dickie Kur from Tech Australia Advocates. I know he was on the list, but I also know it's very, very late in Australia. Dickie and a woman called Claire Bull are taking over to relaunch Tech Australia Advocates, and Leslie Sarma and I will be joining them at an event called South Start in Adelaide in early March. So great to have them on board as new leaders as well. And then I don't believe they're on, but we've got Mary McKenna and Claire who are taking over to co-lead a rebranded Tech Northern Ireland Advocates group. So just wanted to give a shout out to them. Very quickly, before I take you through 3 slides, and for Tracy and I to just give you a little bit of commentary on that, just a heads up on a few events that are coming where I'm going to be traveling to. So first and foremost, we've got UK Southeast Asia Tech Week coming the week of the 4th of March. Kudos to Leslie Sarma for her involvement in helping to organize that. I know we've got Kathy from Tech Thailand Advocates on the call. Raj and Aaron from Tech Malaysia Advocates are here on the call. They're going to join us in Bangkok, and then I'm going to go on from Bangkok to spend, I guess, 24 hours with Raj and Aaron in KL before I head to Australia, but really looking forward to that. They had a fantastic launch event last October. Also coming, obviously, Leslie's going to be representing Singapore. Amor McClang, who leads our new Tech Philippines Advocates Group, is joining us. And then a woman called Nicole Nguyen, who is stepping up to lead a new, there's Nicole. Hi, Nicole. Nice to see you. Who's going to join us in Bangkok. And we're going to announce that we'll be launching Tech Vietnam Advocates. So the region's on fire is all I have to say. So many good things happening in Southeast Asia. And I know it's late for all of you. So thank you so much for joining this call. And then from there, as I mentioned, Leslie and I are heading on to Adelaide to be with Dickie and Claire for South Start, which is a big event, national event taking place there. A number of events and activities are being planned for us to really give us a great relaunch of our Tech Australia Advocates Group. And I know Dickie and Claire are going to be fantastic leaders for us there. Then coming back to London briefly, we're working to try and have a London Mayoral Tech Forum on the 21st of March. We've done this in the past where we bring the candidates running for Mayor of London together to talk about how they think about the tech sector here in London. And we're working with the candidates to secure the date. It's not an easy thing to do, as you can imagine, but the team at Seven Hills are working hard on that, and we're going to be having that at Here East, which Gavin Poole, one of our sponsors, has kindly agreed to host. So you'll get a bit more information about that. As I mentioned, we're going to do a Tech Northern Ireland Advocates relaunch. That'll be on the 25th of March, likely in Belfast. And then Emiliano and Andrew from Tech Emerging Europe Advocates are hosting their annual event in Cluj in Romania from the 10th to the 12th of April. I will be joining them for that event. They had a fantastic event in Warsaw last year, so great to go back to that part of the world to be with them. So that's just a quick preamble from me. We're going to talk a bit more later on under AOB and in the extra half hour where you can ask me anything. But in the meantime, Matisse, can I ask you to pull up the first 3 slides to just very quickly walk through that before we hand over to David. So first and foremost, and many of you will have already seen this, especially if you're a working group leader, but these slides have been prepared by Tracy and Matisse in terms of pulling together what are our asks of each working group leader in terms of getting website updates. We really want to make sure that our TLA and GTA working group pages are properly updated. Please, any new joiners, to just make sure that they're introduced to me so that they get into our TLA and GTA database. Information about social media reach. We've got a new open LinkedIn page. We have an advocates only LinkedIn page, which I'm probably in about 10 times a day, but we now have an open page where anyone can follow us. Some information about communications. We'd love to set up WhatsApp groups and things like that. And then a real focus on how do we make sure that we keep collaborating. This is getting to be a very large, massive global organization. And collaboration, I think, is one of our key opportunities to make sure that we continue to grow and expand on our impact. Next page, please. And then ask from leaders. This is just a little bit more information about the LinkedIn post template. This is something that Tracy will have sent out to you. We're starting to put a lot more information in there, and this is going to be a great way for you to showcase your various initiatives, whether it's a working group initiative, a GTA working group initiative. This is some of the information that we'd love to capture that we can then post in that. That open group currently has, we're just shy of 10,000 followers, frankly, from not doing anything, that we've already got lots of followers. So now we're trying to make sure that we really activate that so that many more people, even if they're not in the advocates community anywhere in the world, can follow us. I will still keep building out the TLA and GTA advocates only LinkedIn group. That is really for advocates to use, but we've now got these 2 LinkedIn groups. So I encourage you to use that platform, and any questions, please feel free to contact Tracy. And then last slide in this section. Oops, there we go. Thank you. Just for you, this is some of the website blueprint, some of the information for the TLA and GTA working group leaders. We want to keep your pages up to date, fresh. Tracy and also Caroline Cooper. Caroline takes the information and updates it. Many of you are very good at doing this, but I know we have to nag some of you to make sure that your pages are updated. This is for your own benefit. This is for your own use. This is your own space on either the TLA or GTA website for you to use. So before we move on to the next topic, Tracy, can I bring you in here? Anything else, any comments that you want to make about the asks that we have for the various leaders on the call?
Yeah, just great to see you all here today. As some of you know, I'm working through my way, meeting all of you one-to-one online. So I'm going to be getting to all the rest of you as well. So it'd be great to get to know you all. What'll be really great is from what Russ was saying, is about how we have the GTA geographical groups and the TLA GTA working groups. And it'd be great if we could start collaborating and working together a bit more. You will see that some of you will see that I'm trying to help you do that when I'm seeing how to join up the dots. So that's helpful. I think what's really useful going forward now is that we make the most of the LinkedIn, because for me, that is very much an opportunity for all of us to show the impact we're making collectively. If we're able to just have LinkedIn posts that basically say post event or post thought leadership or post co-branded event, that you're able to say, here's 3 things that we got from this, and here's a link to further information, and then a link to join our group. So that's something we can put in the open LinkedIn pages as well as the closed ones. So I think those are 2 things I really wanted to say, and I look forward to seeing the rest of you who I haven't met one-to-one going forward, and also in the events. So thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, Tracy, and great to have you on board. Right, let's shift on to the next item on the agenda, which is London Tech Week update. I haven't seen him, but I'm assuming David is here. So David Monahan is recently appointed as London Tech Week Festival Director. I know many of you were actively involved in London Tech Week over the past several years, and last year was a milestone year for us. We had over 30,000 participate. 40% were from overseas. So it really felt like a great global event. And I know many of you, both our TLA and GTA groups did fringe events throughout the week. So I thought it would be great to introduce all of you to David and hear a little bit from him about what's coming this year, the new venue we're going to have for London Tech Week, and how you can follow up with him and the team at Informa and Informa Tech in terms of working on events, introducing delegations, etc. So, David, can I turn this over to you, please?
Yes, thanks a lot, Russ. I'll just load my slides. Bear with 1 second.
No worries. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, great. So, yeah, thanks a lot for the invitation, Russ. And it's great to be here and to speak to you all today. So thanks everybody for your time. As Russ said, my name is David Monahan. I'm the new Festival Director for London Tech Week. I joined in September last year. So this will be my first full event cycle. I've worked in events for a long time, longer than I care to mention. And I've run events all over the world. So I'm really excited about the growth journey which we're going on with London Tech Week. And as Russ alluded to, I guess, the new features that we're bringing in this year and the growth plans we've got for the future. So I guess I know many of you are familiar with London Tech Week, having attended it at least last year and probably other times in the past. But it's just to sort of start off by saying that although the name has got a very sort of a specific geographic designation, we see this as very much a global tech event which takes place in London. Obviously, London is a global city and a major financial centre and a centre of startups and tech innovation as well. So it's very much, as Russ said, a global event, and that's something which, as we grow, we hope to make it more international and more global as we go forward. And then just to introduce, I guess, explain who's behind this. Obviously, the founding partners, as we call them, are Founders Forum Group and Informa Tech, and I work for a combination of those 2 companies. And then we work very closely with London and Partners, and of course with Russ and Global Tech Advocates and London Tech Advocates. And again, anyone who's familiar with the event is probably aware, We have our strategic partners. We have strong support from the UK government, and in particular the Department for Business and Trade and the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology, as well as the Mayor of London and Tech UK, which is one of the major trade associations representing especially larger tech firms in the UK. And I suppose it's worth saying as well that just as we are a global event, we're also a UK-wide event. So it's not exclusively a London thing. We see the event as a gateway to the whole of the UK and the great things that are going on in the regions throughout the UK when it comes to tech. Again, as Russ said, 2024 we see as a new chapter for London Tech Week. It will be the 11th year, but we're really seeing quite a big change in scale as we particularly to moving to the Expo Centre at Olympia. So it's the first time we've run the event in an exhibition space like this. And the great thing about that is it gives us much more space and opportunity to create an immersive festival feel, to bring tech to life for the audience. It gives us more room for different content stages. We will have more content than ever before, obviously more exhibition space and more networking opportunities for attendees. And again, as Russ said, we really want to increase the representation of the global tech ecosystem at the event. And if you guys can help us with that, then that would be great. I think one specific thing I just wanted to mention is that, as we expand the expo floor, there's a lot of space, and we're really focusing on trying to bring in country or regional pavilions. So opportunities where you can showcase your country or region to startups or investors, perhaps bring startups from your region, especially if you have networks where you're already actively collaborating together. And that's an opportunity you might want to explore, but I won't belabor that point. I'm sure you're all familiar with the concept. And so I've just got a couple of slides. I won't talk into these in too much detail, but these just, I think, bring to life the move to Olympia and what that means in terms of the richness of the experience for people that come. So as you can see there, looking at the sort of the top right, we've got the headline keynote stage, which will be a bigger stage than we've had before for the keynote speakers we have. So last year, the opening speaker was UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. We also had the UK CEO of Microsoft, the UK CEO of IBM. This year, we hope to have a similar lineup of speakers. And then looking at the way we're organizing the exhibition and the show floor, I suppose it really speaks to the three major audience groups that we attract to the event, namely startups and founders. And so we have a zone for them and content specifically focused on their needs and their interests. Then investors, and we're really building the investor proposition this year to attract more and a higher level of investors, particularly from London, but all over the world. And then if you to the green section here on the right-hand side, the enterprise zone and the sort of the corporate innovation aspect. And really, with these three things all fit together, as you guys all know, as part of the ecosystem. Startups create the innovations, investors fund them, but then ultimately it's the corporate enterprises and the SMEs that adopt them and implement them, and then enabling the circle to go around again. And then just again, I won't speak to this in detail, but just echoing what I said, we've got a really rich agenda which goes over, and I should have said actually that the dates for the event are the 10th to the 14th of June. That's obviously Monday being the start of the week, and London Tech Week obviously goes across all 5 days. What I'm really talking specifically about here is the activity at Olympia on the 10th to the 12th, so the Monday to Wednesday. But obviously fringe events can run all through the week, Monday to Friday, and there'll be basically things going on throughout the week. But this is just giving you a quick flavour of the range of the content that we'll have at Olympia on Monday to Wednesday. I won't talk about that in detail, but again, just to sort of show that we're trying to cover and give specific value to all the different parts of our audience. And then yeah, obviously, from my side, we would love as many of you as possible to get involved. So, I just thought I'd finish with, a few thoughts on how you can do that. I know that some people on the call, in fact, many people on the call, organized delegations to attend last year, and that's something which we can support you with. If you want to get a group of people from your own chapter of GTA, we can help you with that. Alongside that, there are opportunities for a country or regional pavilion, as I said. You can host a fringe event, and we will be making the process for doing that a little bit easier this year in terms of how you communicate that to us. We'll have an online form where you can enter those details and just make that a simpler process. But mostly, come along, enjoy the event. We'd love to welcome as many of you there as possible. Tell everyone that you know about the event and urge them to come along too. But as I say, it's really the whole purpose of London Tech Week is to be a broad coalition of people who are jointly, working to bring the positive benefits of tech to the rest of society. And the more people we get there, the better. And so, on that note, do feel free to reach out to me. There's my email address. I believe Russ is going to share the slides after this call. So yeah, feel free to get in touch with whatever question you might have for me. So thanks everyone for your time.
Thank you, David. Really, really helpful. And yes, to everyone, we will get the slides out to all of you. If you've got a burning question for David, would you pop it in the chat so I can take a look at it? I just want to make sure that we stay close to time. And obviously you've got David's email. So David, get ready. You may get inundated with lots of messages and emails, but all for a good cause, as you say. And for everybody, this is really exciting. The new venue, I think, is going to be a great place for us. And we had so much positive feedback after last year. So really, really good to have David in situ and introduce him to all of you. So thank you for that, David. Let's move on. I'd like to introduce Shane Smith, who I've known for many years. Shane runs an organization called Pitchflix, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about what he does. But I was with Shane and also Richard Lowe, who organized a fantastic tech mission to Hong Kong last November, bringing a delegation of scale-ups from the UK to Hong Kong. And part of the week was a reverse pitching session, which took place at the Eaton Club. And I was given the honors to moderate that event. But it was such an impressive event where investors were pitching to startups and scale-ups in the room, that Shane, myself, Tracy Matitz had a call afterwards, and we just thought it would be a great thing to introduce Pitchflix to all of you. I know Shane is thinking about doing things in some other cities around the world. Leslie, I know you and Shane have been talking about something in Singapore, and Shane, I know you have some thoughts about other destinations as well. So let me hand the floor over to you for the next 10 minutes so that you can introduce what you're doing through Pitchflix to the advocates community.
Russ, great. Thanks very much for that introduction. I thought I was busy until I heard your opening presentation. So kudos to you. Nice to see some familiar faces on the call. So hi to everybody that I know over the last couple of years. Good to see you. So Pitchflix was set up in December 2019. With a mission really to try to get more, very, very precise mission to try to get more genuine investor eyeballs onto accelerator demo days, because typically accelerator demo days tend to be fairly lightly populated in terms of genuine investors who are showing up with their checkbooks. So our objective was to live stream as many as we could from the UK and internationally to an international, global network of investors that we've established over a couple of years, and really just to try to raise the ROI on those events, get more genuine deals done at the end of the accelerator programs. So we started that process in December 19. Impeccably terrible timing, of course, because everything then, in terms of physical events, shut down a couple of months later. But we've dusted off the activity when the COVID restrictions were lifted, And we've added to the, if you like, the marketplace that we're creating between accelerators and investors and founders. We've now added a new leg in our strategy, which is on top of live streaming the existing events that happen, several times a week, several times a day around London and the UK in terms of demo day pitch events. We observed that there was really no systematic opportunity for investors to educate and inform the founder space about what they're interested in, what they're not interested in, and to convey some kind of idea of the chemistry and personality that would prevail if a founder gets into a relationship with them, which is likely to last 5 or 10 years. So this format didn't exist in a systematic form. We thought there was probably demand for it. We tried it out in London in early last year, and we quickly filled the event spaces at level 39, which is roughly a 200-seat event space. So we started to run these events in London every 6 to 8 weeks. We invite a dozen to 15 VC, family office, CVC, angel syndicates to come along and talk to our 150, 200 founders in the room. Towards the end of last year, with a huge amount of help from Richard Lowe and Tech West England advocates, we embarked on the first international episode in Hong Kong at the Eaton Club, as Russ has mentioned. And our first episode in Hong Kong actually turned out to be even bigger than our first episode in London. So there was clearly an appetite for a similar format in international markets. And that has now led on to the formulation of a series for Hong Kong. There'll be 3 episodes over the coming 12 months, backed by Invest Hong Kong, KPMG, HSBC, Innovation Banking, and others. Again, with a huge chunk of help from Leslie in Singapore, we're now making the arrangements on the ground for the same reverse pitch format to be staged in Singapore. And that'll hopefully be by around May or June this year. We'd really like this to be a global product, if you like, rolling it out to the other key ecosystems around the world. We started conversations for Mumbai, and we're interested in starting conversations in New York or Boston, San Francisco, LA, and the other key ecosystems around Europe, the US, and eventually the global South as well. So that's what we do in a nutshell. I'm not sure if Matic has any slides ready to go there, but we've got a couple of images that we can circulate after this meeting in order to give a flavor of what we do. We also live stream the events and segment those recordings so they're then available on demand after the events. So I'm really interested in talking to any advocates who, particularly if you're in one of the tier 1 ecosystems and would like to get involved in producing with us these events on a regular basis on the ground. I think from the experience in Hong Kong, Russ, I think you were able to engage with a significant number of additional advocates in Hong Kong.
Yes.
So hopefully this is something that would be a powerful driver, a powerful tool for GTA. And similarly, for any individuals who are involved with this, the opportunity to use these events also as a showcase of your core businesses and a showcase for the other activities that you're mounting in your own regions. So I'd love to have those conversations with anybody that's interested in taking it forward and working with us to roll out this reverse pitch concept around the world, and with the higher target in mind, to try to unblock some of the founder-funder friction that exists pretty much in every ecosystem, and to the extent that we can do that disproportionately favoring minorities and female founders in particular, I think that's a great opportunity. We did last October run a specifically female founder version of the reverse pitch event at Aqua Stock Exchange in London. And again, we filled their space with female founders. Only one guy there, that was me. It was a very enjoyable day. And a panel of 12 female investors. So there is definitely an appetite for these kinds of events, these kind of forums. Definitely. So I'd love to have those conversations following up.
Thank you. No, I would just echo that, and I can see that there's some commentary in the chat wanting some further details. So if we'll get the slides out to everybody and your contact details. But my ask of all of you is, if you are interested in following up with Shane, to let Tracy and myself know, so that we can kind of amalgamate that, get a sense of who's interested across the GTA network, and then we will pass it over to Shane. And definitely speak to Richard Lowe, whose work with Shane. The event in Hong Kong last November was excellent. We probably brought in at least, I don't know, Shane, 75, 80 new advocates just from that one event. Really good group of people, both investors and startup and scaling businesses. So thank you for that. Really wanted to just give Shane a brief platform to talk to you a little bit more about this. I know he's got global aspirations, and I've always said that our GTA map certainly will match up with that. But I would certainly give it my endorsement to all of you to have a think about that and let us know. So
I could just add one thing, Russ, that there is
our
next episode in London is on the 17th of February at level 39. So any advocates who would like to join, that is also live streamed, by the way. So join virtually or in person. But anybody who would like to join in person, I'd be more than happy to issue comp tickets for that event.
Great.
Shane, can we
Thank you so
follow
much.
up? Jeanette
Yeah,
here.
Jeanette, quick question.
But afterwards, so we have an event coming up during London Tech Week, exactly for that, female founders and all the rest of it. And I'd love to have a general chat as well. And David and I have just messaged, so I'll connect with you after.
Perfect. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Great. Okay, thank you, Shane, for joining us. Let's shift gears again, and would like to introduce to all of you a new concept that we're working on, and some of you have already provided good input for us. Jeanette, Leslie, I've spoken to Omar about this, Sarah and Gino from the folks in Wales. We're calling it GTA Launchpad, and I think I've mentioned this to a number of you already. So what we'd like to do, and I've got Matisse and Tracy prepared to kind of walk you through a few slides, but to me, this concept really reinforces one of the reasons why we exist, which is we want to help scaling businesses when they are looking to move from one market to another, or from one tech hub to another, and we can certainly do that, and we've been doing that for a very long time already, probably much more on an informal basis. There's not a day that doesn't go by where I'm not introducing somebody to somebody else somewhere in the world, and we're hoping that this Launchpad concept will really try and bring that together for all of us, hopefully in a very simple, straightforward way, where we can capture information about businesses that are looking to expand internationally, help them to connect with advocates groups in the destination market, but then also introduce them to other organizations who can help them get land and stand on their own 2 feet when they get into that local market. So Matisse, I think I'm starting with you, and then Tracy, we're going to have you talk a little bit about what you've been working on with Leslie in terms of how we get this information. So do you want to bring up the slides, Matisse, and walk us through it?
Yes, definitely. Hi, everyone. So hopefully you can see my screen. So Global Launchpad, as Russ mentioned, this is a concept we've been working on and developing the last few weeks with Tracy, and thinking about a new, I guess, campaign we're looking to build as part of Global Tech Advocates. You'll be familiar with the COVID Resource Hub we've previously built. Of course, we've got the Tech for Net Zero Resource Hub on the GTA page at the moment, and we're looking to add to that and build something that's designed specifically for scaling businesses across sort of, I guess, technology, but the wider business landscape. We're hoping that this would be a sort of central platform where we've got advice and resources for startups and scale-ups across our global ecosystem. And it really serves as an important and valuable resource for all our members, but also the wider community that ends up engaging with us and hopefully finds it useful and something that they can tap into as they sort of look into their scaling journey. It would be primarily delivered through a new online hub that we would build for the GTA website. But a big chunk of that will then be amplifying the content across GTA channels, particularly through LinkedIn. So thinking when we've got the resources in place, we're getting lots of input from all of you, but the wider community, whether it's tips on scaling a particular particular market or geographic area, or whether it be just more general resources that people want to be sharing about their know-how on how to scale a company, or government and other industry resources to tap into. All of that we'd want to promote on socials, and ultimately building this permanent home for a lot of expertise, for resources, which is accumulated from this network that we've built. As Russ says, it feels like a really great moment to be thinking about this and building something now that the scale of the organization is as large as it is, and the footprint we've got, it feels like a natural evolution of things. So in terms of the objectives for this hub, we want to showcase the size and strength of the network. We are obviously 30,000 plus strong, with 33 hubs and more coming. So it's sort of unprecedented how this has grown, and we want to make sure that we are able to showcase all that expertise that we've got to offer. I think it's a pretty unique offering, and I think it's a smart way to start using it. We'd want to, as a start point, establish a strong scale-up base, essentially getting information from companies that migrate to our site and understand, where they've come from, what's their size, turnover, what's their home market, what they're targeting, just so that we start to really understand the, I guess, the scale-up community which will be supporting. And I think it will be a pretty unique database that we can build. We'd want to, I guess, find a way to use this hub to onboard new partners. It feels like a really natural way to even offer sponsorship opportunities for organizations, thinking particularly in the recruitment space, but it could be others as well, that will see the scaling element as a natural place for them to be very visible, for them to profile their content, to build new relationships. And yeah, we all know as a grassroots not-for-profit organization, whenever we can have opportunities to have really bespoke sponsor relationships being built, we try and do that. And this feels like a really great way to start up some new conversations. And then finally, because of the community growing organically as it is, this feels like another great way to do that, for us to connect, communicate, and yeah, just find new ways of spreading all the expertise, and I think adding to the growth and likely more companies and more founders and more tech, the voices coming into the community. So how do we see it coming together in terms of building the hub and what we're currently working on? The company data is the first bit. As I mentioned, this is all about building a bit of a base of the actual scale-ups that we'd want to be engaging with and helping out, understanding what's the demand, I guess, side of this, and where are people coming from and what sort of ideas they're bringing to the table. There'll be an about section, just purely we are likely to be interacting with companies that are aware of us just yet, and getting them to understand who we are as a network, what's our ethos, what this is all about, what's the proposition, and also, the actual scale of the organization, which ties into the global footprint. We want this to be visual and appealing and give you a sense that wherever market you are, I guess, visiting us from and looking to get information from, you are able to almost travel the world virtually and understand, if you go into a particular market, who's the leader there, what are some of the connections they have, what are the partners on the ground they know that can help you, and that way you can quickly connect with what is a very sizable global community that we've got. Then resources. This again is about collating information that either we already know that we're going to put asks out to all of you in terms of some of the partners on the ground you should be aware of. What are some of the obvious areas in terms of, it could be policy, it could be just the most obvious areas of regulation or anything that is helpful for a company looking to move into a market somewhere. Blog and thought leadership. This is, I think, an obvious one to have on there because of the breadth of knowledge that we've got to share from the group on this call, but even more broadly in the network. These are going to be the style of pieces that we like to do already a little bit, particularly in our GTA Connects, but this will be more almost practical and focused on some of the top tips you can all offer for companies. If, let's say, they're looking to move to Singapore, and we've got an example of that a little later in the deck, what you should be thinking about and some of the top tips that could be useful for a company. And then finally, as mentioned, great opportunity to engage new partners and potential sponsors. And we'd want to have a dedicated slot on the hub just for that, so that if they've got content, if they've got materials being produced, or just wanting to have lots of visibility, there's a dedicated section for that. So that's currently being developed and in the works, but wanted to give you a sense of how we see it coming together. Before I hand over to Tracy on the section on what we've currently been already working on with Leslie and some examples, 2 asks that we've got from you today that we'd love all the GTA leads to be thinking about as a takeaway. One is on the ground support, to thinking about one relevant partner or company that you know that could help us, I guess, showcase our global footprint. So as I mentioned earlier, if we visualize a map on the page and you migrate to a certain market, what can pop up there with your name and with your organization that adds a little bit more, I guess, strength and validity to how we can support an organization to grow if they go into that market. I'm sure all of you will have something that comes to mind that would be useful. And equally, and Russ, please add anything here if helpful, but
Sure.
it'd be brilliant if you can go away and have a think about equally any prospective partners, organizations you've been speaking to that may be interested in getting involved this on a more commercial basis that could actually be a good fit. This is where the network really comes to life, and understanding connections that you may have that will be a natural fit to work with us on this.
Great. Thank you, Matisse.
Thanks, Matisse. Yeah, this is just an example of that I've been working with, having spoken to a few of you, and Leslie was the one that came up with this template. We talked about whether it would be great to have boots on the ground, GTA leads who know what it's like to enter the market and perhaps have seen the mistakes made, and we want to be able to avoid those with new people trying to enter the market. So coming up with some sort of top 10 tips. It could be top 5 tips, but it's, we were thinking about top tips that you would want to consider when you're entering that particular geography, no matter which corridor you're coming from. And also to give the contact of yourselves as GTA leads, as boots on the ground, a person that they can pick up the phone to and talk to. In addition, as Matisse has just mentioned, about how we would be able to perhaps name some of the trusted partners that you know you've worked with to help certain companies enter into those markets, and that you know work well, because that's also names that people would want to be able to have a starter for 7 to pick up the phone to. And as well as that, Matisse has mentioned just exploring the opportunity commercially for any partners that want to be able to get involved, but also sponsors. But I would say also what's really good is to have in one place some sort of signposting of trade associations and government organisations and things like that that you know are actually really helpful, versus ones that are just giving you a long list of things to get through and it's very hard to know where to start. So I think this is where we can, Leslie really helped. So thank you, Leslie, to come up with something. I know Richard shared something as well, but it's just whether there are top tips that you would want to share on that is specific to your country, and has the cultural nuances as well that's really helpful. So it'd be great to work with you in your country for a similar type of creation like this, so that when you're able to imagine a map where there's a pin for your country on there, if you were to be able to go and press on that pin and it comes up, say with Singapore, that you'd actually have this as information for people to be able to grab and work through and pick up the phone to you. So hopefully that's helpful as an idea, and it'd be great to work with all of you to see what is relevant for your country to be able to add to the Launchpad. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. And well, great to see all of your comments coming in the chat. So great to see that this is really resonating. And well, really, it's to thank many of you, because I think many of you have encouraged us to look at something like this. So hopefully this gives us some structure and to try and build a platform. Now, we're not going to have all of the bells and whistles on this ready from day one. I'm pushing Matisse and Tracy. I'd like to get something up and running in March, and then we, like we do across GTA all the time, we start small and we grow and we expand it over time. And we do have funding in place to get this started. I do think that there's an opportunity for GTA to monetize this. So if you've got ideas and thoughts on potential sponsors, and I can see a couple of you have already put that in the chat, that would be really helpful. You know, we're not going to ask for an arm and a leg. I'm looking to, in the first instance, try and cover our costs, and in the second instance, you know, build up some funding so that we can reinvest it into this particular platform. You know, if you think about this, that we're going to be an introducer here, and we want to make sure that we've got the right organizations in many places around the world who can help us to do that. And I think the other point I want to make, and this has come up a couple of times, because obviously this community is started in London and the UK, but to me, this is a hub to hub initiative. So if you're in Singapore, or sorry, I'm going to use an example. So I know in Nigeria, you've had a conversation with Leslie about a Nigeria-Singapore connection. Fantastic. How do we use Launchpad to do just that? You know, Lanny, you and Luis, you know, between California and Florida, you've done lots of interesting events. Is this a corridor that you could potentially use as well? Jeanette, I know you have a lot of scaling businesses from the Nordics looking to go elsewhere. Hopefully this is a really good platform. Sarah and Gino in Cardiff in Wales, I know you're part of Tramshed Tech and have this international soft landing program. This would be a natural partner for that. So this is about collaboration, it's about partnerships, but also the data that we're going to capture from this, I think is going to be very interesting for us. So we want to make sure that we build in the data protection rules that we'll need to follow, but we're going to start to build up an interesting trove of companies of looking to move internationally and learning and understanding where they want to go to. So hopefully that gives you a taster of what this is all about. One other point I'm going to make here, because I know we've got about 10 minutes left, and feel free to follow up either in the half hour afterwards or separately via email, is for the GTA country leaders or regional leaders, those who have licensing agreements in place. I think this also really forces you to make sure that your websites are up to date. We're going to want to make sure that Global Launchpad is linked to your individual websites and vice versa. So many of the GTA websites are up to date, but some of them are looking a little bit dated. So can this also be an opportunity for you to refresh your website and then also put something in there about Global Launchpad? We've asked you to do this before with the Tech for Net Zero Resource Hub, but I think this is another step further that really anchors all of us as tech hubs and tech communities to work and support each other through this particular platform. So I'm going to pause there. Thank you again for your comments. Please keep putting them in the chat. We've got another formal 10 minutes to our agenda. So Matisse, I think you wanted to just touch base on a couple of campaign ideas. Is that right?
Yes, a couple more minutes from me. This is a bit of a summary of the campaign plan we've built with and for us for the year ahead. Obviously, we are in kind of mid-February already, but to run through what we're focusing on this year, I think it's important for the entire network to be aware. A couple of key elements of our campaign. So Tech for Net Zero remains a key pillar of our GTA activity. Lots of you, I'm sure, will have seen Russ was with Esther at the Global Economic Forum in Davos earlier in the year, and lots of key messages landing around net zero, developing skills, and even our partnership with Coldplay, which continues. I believe Leslie recently saw Coldplay in concert, and that logo came up, which is a pretty phenomenal thing to see. So yes, net zero remains a big priority for us, and you'll likely see lots of that through our social, but also just our media work and thought leadership we're pushing out So that remains central to what we do on the GTA side. Launchpad, we've just talked about. It's something we're building, but hopefully over the next month or so goes live and it's fully functional. And then for the rest of the year, we start to really ramp up activity and it becomes a key campaigning element. Earlier in this session, Russ mentioned the Mayoral Tech Forum we are working towards for late March. And the other piece of that, I guess, in some of the UK activity is London Tech Week. Of course, we sort of bundle those two together. They are a couple months apart, but very central to our activity, particularly for the TLA group. The UK Chips Coalition. So obviously TLA and Russ is a founding member of this and very much working to provide an industry point of view on how to deliver on the semiconductor strategy that the government delivered last year and what are the next steps. The first formal meeting was of this year was earlier in January, and lots of good engagement from DCIT and the tech minister so far, and we're hoping that continues throughout this year. I think we're planning the next session for April, if I remember correctly. And then final piece to mention, we've touched a little bit around the Launchpad. We want to make sure LinkedIn becomes much more of an intrinsic part of how we activate our community, the messages we put out, and just feels like almost a slightly underutilized resource that we've got. So this is going to become much more central to all of our activity and the messages we're pushing out into the community. So I wanted to give you a bit of a summary of our key campaigning elements for the year. And I think we're finishing off with just a bit of a timeline, which sort of captures what I've just mentioned there for Q1 and what we're working on. Some of those events that Russ mentioned at the top of the call as well, and some of his travels in Southeast Asia and Australia. Then we've got the relaunch of Island Advocates in March.
Northern Ireland Advocates.
Sorry, apologies. Yeah,
No,
that's a big typo.
Bit of a difference.
Yeah, we're going to make that amend before we circulate these slides.
Thank you.
Then Q2 and beyond. Russ, I don't know any particular call outs from you on this slide, anything you want to?
No, I think it's exciting. But, you know, we've got Chongqing, which will be our 6th group in China. You've heard about London Tech Week and Brazil, which is great. Provisionally, we're looking to launch in Boston, our 3rd group in the US, our 3rd GTA group in the US. We do have a TLA Arizona chapter. I know Jennifer Wong is on the call joining us, which is wonderful. Greetings to my fellow home state member there. And then we've got Turkey coming, and then Nicole is on the call for Vietnam. We're looking possibly at a GTA event later this year. I'm not quite sure. But next year, just to plant a seed, is the 10th anniversary of Global Tech Advocates. And I'm already speaking to a few of you about what that could entail. It might be not just be one event, but it could be 2 or 3 events, depending on where you are in the world. So,
and it might entail you swinging past the Nordics, because actually we are 10 this year, as we've been.
Yes, I know. We'll have a double 10-year anniversary. Nordics is definitely on my mind for part of our 10-year GTA celebration, because without you, Jeanette, GTA would never have gotten started. So thank you for that. Let me just take a couple of minutes. I do want to ask a couple of you who I haven't spoken to just jump in here. Esther, I know you're on the call. I was just wondering if you could take a couple of minutes to talk about what we did together in Davos with Tech for Net Zero, with Coldplay, with Hundo, etc. And then Lanny, I know you've got, and Michael's here, who's joined your advisory board. You can just share with the group that you're going to evolve from a Bay Area group to a California group. So Esther, are you still there, Esther? I saw you earlier.
Yeah.
Yay. Tell us about the fun in the snow in Davos.
Yeah, so really good start to the year. For those who don't know, Hundo, my startup, now a scale up, is also now an associated organisation of Coldplay, Music of the Spheres Tour. Our focus is on the delivery of net zero skills development for 50,000 young people, initially across the UK, but we obviously want to expand it. So bringing those two relationships together with GTA Tech for Net Zero, and obviously the point of Hundo was we're a World Economic Forum technology pioneer this year, so that was the triangle. Of bringing all those things together. The big thing for me is continuing to support the GTA The relationship with Coldplay is quite a simple one. We're the GTA are one of a small number of associated organisations, one of the few that they're continuing a relationship with. So it's really good. Anything around, yeah, thanks actually to Seven Hills for sending a really good impact report. It's all obviously positive coverage. And then yeah, as you were saying, yes, the GTA logo is played at all of the concerts all over the world as part of the advocates. And then obviously looking at the skills development. So we hope that gave everyone a good boost to the new year, and we'll continue to develop that relationship. On the what we're asking basically companies to do is start to think about putting skills at the heart of their ESG agendas and CSR agendas, because it's a measurable, tangible return instead of something that's quite woolly. Particularly important for those of you who don't know, the new European directive for CSR is about getting much harder on actual reporting on the impact. So that's just something for awareness through the Tech for Net Zero campaign. It's that has to be actually reported on. So the world is moving closer to net zero, hopefully. But yeah, massive thanks actually to the whole group for all of the big ups. I cannot tell you how protractedly difficult getting all that off the ground was, and Tracy was an absolute hero, having to put up with my slightly stressed messaging on a more regular basis than everyone else. So thanks to Tracy as well.
Well, and kudos to you. It was all of you would have been incredibly proud of Esther, what she's doing, the representation of GTA. We got to rub shoulders with a few celebrities as well whilst we were there. It's a bit of a strange place. I've never been before, but it was a really fantastic experience. So Esther, thank you. I will forever have that day in my memory. So thank you for that. It was really great. Lanny, quick update from you, please, because I know you're looking to evolve the Bay Area Advocates Group, and obviously with being in Silicon Valley and Northern California, this is going to be a big step for you. So if you could just quickly update everybody, and then I've got a couple more announcements before we then go into our Ask Me Anything section.
Hi, everybody. Welcome from California, and I am here with Michael Nathan, who has joined our advisory board. We are so excited to have him, and he says he will do everything to support not only what we're doing in California, but the GTA system. So we are very, very fortunate. Basically, our advocates go all the way up the state, a very, very large state, 5th largest economy in the world, at least last week. And we also have advocates in the Northwest, but it makes more sense for us to take California and migrate Tech Bay Area and Silicon Valley into a larger California presence, because we have so many people in media and in entertainment in Los Angeles and in Hollywood. We actually did an event around that in, I believe it was 2018, and that was a very exciting event. And we had another event at Cisco in San Jose, also in the media and entertainment tech space. So we are going to do that again. And we have a sub-hub or a leader in San Diego named Lizette Darcos, who has been with Tech Bay Area Advocates from the very beginning. She is now affiliated with the UC system at the UC San Diego School of Business, the Rady School of Business. And I am doing work with the California State University system. So these are two very large university systems that are very intrigued by what we're doing. And we're speaking at the presidential level of those universities and deans who are very excited about this, primarily deans in science and technology. So more to come on this. And we're getting on the road soon. So here to support and be available as long as we have the bandwidth. So that's pretty much all I have. I'm very excited about this. In terms of GTA Americas, in touch with almost everybody there. It's very exciting to see the expansion too. I will be in Mexico City at the U.S. Embassy on March 13th and 14th, working with the ambassador there for a private event with someone who Russ knows very well, who is one of the founding TLA members, John Brandenstein. So
Yes.
Yeah, so that's very, very excited, and it's been a joy to work with him. And it's going to be very exciting to pull Mexico City up. Have some professors who are interested, but they're kind of dipping their toes in. And but with John down there, we will be in great shape, especially working with the U.S. Embassy. So stay tuned on that. Michael,
That's
you're
great.
welcome to speak. Yeah, okay, I spoke to
Sorry,
everybody.
we're a little bit short on time, but thank you for that. And Michael, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Actually, you mentioned John Bradenstein. We've got Mimi and Kathy on the call. We all met with John when he was posted in Bangkok a year ago, and we knew he was going to Mexico City. So great for you to have that connection. I'm hoping to see him. I'm going to the Select USA Summit in Washington this June. Jeanette, I know you were there last year, which was great. So it's an important event for us in the USA. Couple of quick announcements for me, and then you're free to go or stay on for another half hour. I'd love to keep chatting away. Bob and Skip from GTA Health Tech are organizing a webinar in mid-March on entering the Chinese market. A gentleman called Timothy Johns is now our Tech China Advocates Health Tech lead. We were all together in China in November in Wuxi to launch the group. And Timothy is getting things moving forward. So he's now connected to Skip and Bob. And to me, it's a great example of a global tech advocate working group working with a geographic group like Tech China Advocates. So an interesting model and template for many of you to watch and observe, but I wanted to give a shout out to that. And then our Tech London Advocates Women in Tech group, we've got Suki here, and I think Sarah is on the call somewhere. Have an International Women's Day event scheduled for the 6th of March, also focusing on the investor community as well. Real issue out there, getting female founders supported by investors, and this is going to put the spotlight on that. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to that event. I know many of you, Richard Lowe, you're working on a number of events throughout the course of the year. It's just really exciting to see the activity across this entire network. So I know we haven't done one of these for a while. I hope to do another one. Maybe we get together in the spring, probably before London Tech Week. Hopefully after we've launched in Brazil, we can tell you all about that. I'm so looking forward to that, launching in Brazil. We've been working on this and have had a few false starts over the years, and it's an important market in the global south for us. So great to extend our footprint there. So with that, let me wrap up. We can keep going. I'm going to look at the chat, or if you guys want to just put your hands up on Zoom, and we can call around, get comments, get feedback, get questions for the next 25, 26 minutes. Let's go for it. But I know you're all very busy. I know for some of you it's incredibly late. So thank you for being with us into the late night, particularly out in Asia. So with that, anybody want to start us off with any questions or comment or anything that's on your mind?
Just super quickly, I've got to go actually because we have an investor dinner, but can you please share, I think maybe that's Tracy, around the whole International Women's Day, of course, and I've already spoken to David about London Tech Week, so that's all cool, but we'd really want to know about that. And obviously, Lanid, like I just posted, we've got a TNA ambassador in Silicon Valley, and so I'm really keen to, and he's fantastic and flies over and does a lot of stuff with us in the Nordics, so that's fantastic. We'd love to collaborate.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jeanette. And thank you for all you're doing, Jeanette. I mean, for everybody, if you haven't taken a look at what Jeanette's doing in the Nordics, wow, it's fantastic. The Female Tech Founders Initiative this is world-class stuff. So kudos to you, Jeanette, and delighted that you're also engaging so deeply in London Tech Week yet again for another year. Richard Lowe, West England Advocates.
Just to say, Casey isn't on the call, but we did want to mention that we realized that there isn't a working group around aerospace and advanced manufacturing within GTA. So we want to launch that at London Tech Week this June, because cool. we have a massive cluster here in the UK, in the west of England, and also over in Canada. So if there's anybody that would like to get involved, we're looking for people to shape a steering committee where we can put a terms of reference together and set some direction for that group. So that's Aerospace and Advanced Manufacturing GTA group, hoping to launch in London. So reach out. Thanks very much, Russ.
Thank you, Richard. Zoltan from Future of Work.
Hey guys, thank you. So I just wanted to say, like, I'm part of TLA&GTA since January 2020 or something, and I've seen, like, a massive growth, and like seeing all this, like coming together, like around the launch pad and the campaign and other activities. It's really good to see that there is, like, more structure and governance being added to everything, because everything, like the whole organization, is, like, grows massively, and think like it's a fantastic initiative. So thank you so much for all your efforts, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoltan. Great to hear from you, and looking forward to your event in a few weeks' time. Thank you for that. Sandra Snoko, welcome.
Yes, Sandra Sinico.
Sinico, apologies, Sandra. I should know that.
No, congratulations for everything, for the work. I'm new here, so I would like to understand the dates that we need to send materials about for the launch pad or for the pad. So in order to avoid delays, because Brazil is not very keen in.
Uh-oh. She
Did we
froze.
lose Sandra? Sandra, if you can hear us, we've lost you. Okay. Hopefully she'll come back, but a message actually, Matisse and Tracy, about deadlines and timings for information to share, which we can certainly follow up on. But hopefully you've had a chance to meet Sandra. Anyone else want to make any comments? I think John Holder from ARVR, I know you're on the call. You did put something in the chat. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, so there's been a few changes at the VR and AR group, and we haven't been as active as we'd like to have been. I'm in the process of recruiting a couple of people to support me from a couple of different organizations in London. So yeah, there was some illness within the group, and also there was contractual obligation that meant one person couldn't step up to the plate. But I'm just letting you know that we're reinvigorating the group, and
Great.
we have some great plans in progress. Also, I'm spending quite a lot of time traveling between Barcelona and London at the moment for immersive projects, and I'd like to discuss and follow up with Tracy on those to see how we can make those work better.
Okay. That's great, John. Thank you. And I would certainly encourage you to connect with Tracy in terms of how you're going to reinvigorate the group. That would be fantastic. Michael Nathan, sorry, I cut you off a little bit, but great to have you jump in. And I know you're working closely with Lanny, and then Mark Jenkinson is next, and then Raj. So Michael, over to you.
Thank you, Russ. First, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you all. I'm very much looking forward to collaborating with Lanny. She's been an amazing advocate for global. From my perspective, I work with startups coming from large enterprise, venture capital, and startups. There's a tremendous effort around generative, ethical, responsible, safe, secure, and trustworthy AI. So if we have an AI initiative, I think we have an amazing responsibility and opportunity to wrap around this. There's no global advisory board on AI, but if we implement and advocate for using it in the right way, we can have a tremendous voice. The second part is robotics and AI seems to be having a big presence in smart warehousing and smart cities. So if we have initiatives around loosely those areas, I believe Lanny and I from California would have a lot of opportunity to help.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for that. So a couple quick comments. So we have a data tech group, which is run by Svet and also Rehan. And actually, we've got a really good event happening at the end of February. But AI sits within many areas, but they specifically take that on as part of data tech. So I would certainly encourage that. And then I know that Sandeep Arora is on the call. He leads our TLA Smart Cities group. So somebody else that you might want to connect to follow up on that. So thank you for that. And welcome, Michael. Great to have you here. Mark Jenkinson and then Raj. Oh, Svet is here, but I'll get to Svet in a moment. Mark.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Yeah, so Mark, I work with Joe on the PropTech and education working groups. I've got two questions. Well, one is just quickly for Richard. Maybe take it offline. But within aerospace, are you including also actual airports themselves? Because I'm doing some work with airports. So I guess that's just a question I could take offline with Richard. But the main question was, I was looking at the TLA, the GTA Net Zero Hub, and I noticed there's a section there about some companies or startups which have made the pledge. And I just want A, how do they make the pledge? And B, how do they get onto the actual kind of
Yes.
the
Good question.
website or
So
whatever?
literally,
And so, and just as Joe and I ran a kind of net zero challenge last year, and there are quite a few companies which are part of the challenge, which I'm sure, well, one of them's actually on there, Quant Energy, but there's probably some which would fit, especially the winners, Construction Carbon. But
great. No, really good question. We, as companies, get approached, and sometimes it's me on an ad hoc basis saying to somebody, look, if you want to join our Net Zero Hub, we've got a startup showcase for you. So just let us know, myself, Matisse, Caroline. Caroline then adds the name of the company and the logo on the startup showcase, and we ask them to basically acknowledge the climate pledge as well. So it's nothing more sophisticated than that. So, but thank you for that. Raj from Malaysia.
Well, currently in London, landed from Malaysia this morning, but heading back out the next month, and look forward to seeing you, Russ, and all the tech Southeast Asia advocates over there. Just very quickly, thinking about October this year. So we're actually running call it an APAC tech trade mission out to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. At the moment, it's primarily for UK companies looking at the Malaysia market and Southeast Asia. Just opening this up potentially, if there are other European or regional companies who think their communities might be interested in Southeast Asia or APAC, we could look at expanding this to companies from other countries across Europe, if you think that makes sense. And secondly, riding on your October 2024 event, Russ, thinking perhaps something in Singapore that might tie in off the back of this trade mission. I'm sure that Leslie would be more than happy to host. I think you're on mute, Russ.
Yeah.
I know I have two laptops going, so it was the other laptop that was, my arrow key was everywhere. So sorry about that. I'm trying to follow chats and emails coming in from your calls. So, but yeah, I'm open to Singapore in October. There you go. Leslie, another thing for your list. Svet, you've got your hand up, and then Sandra, welcome back. But let's go to Svet first.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. It's great to see you. I just wanted to say hi and just verbally how honored I am to be part of this group for another year. The Launchpad seemed incredibly interesting. I would love to get an answer on my question in the chat, which was, are we going to focus only on geographical structure, or we're going to be having maybe subsequent release kind of the working groups, so future of work, data and AI tech, and so on. Maybe a few updates for data tech. So as some of you know, I picked up the lead for data tech. Last year, we've been working on the plan for this year, and we're planning some great things, mainly a couple of main events. We also are signing at the moment a new partner for VK Data Tech, which is Kabula, a data platform. And we'll be doing with them two events, one around a fringe event around London Tech Week, and a second event probably in September. And we're also, this is something very new. We're also working with Microsoft to do a an event focused on Copilot and AI, again, as a fringe event. So we're looking with Rayhan, into dates, not to make these events clash. But yeah, those are kind of our biggest events for the year. And apart from that, we're planning to do like a monthly meetup, super informal, in London.
You've frozen on us there, Svet. But just for everybody's benefit, Svet is now living in Dubai. Another great contact point for us in Dubai, in addition to Omar. So hopefully he'll come back in. Sandra, welcome back. We've got you there. You got cut off on the, sorry, Svet, I'm going to come back to you in a moment. We got you on the global launchpad deadlines bit. There is a comment from Tracy in the chat about that. Was there something else that you wanted to share? And then I'll go back to Svet.
Yeah, just to tell everybody that who wants to reach out or connect with Brazil, take the opportunity when you're here, Russ, so we can embed the interested people or companies, etc., in our event here with Russ. So if you want to connect, please send me an email or WhatsApp.
Great. And Sandra, thank you. I know I'm waiting for you and Henry just to confirm the dates. I think we were looking at the week of May 11th. I've got my eye on a really good airfare. So as soon as you know, let me know so I can book my tickets. I haven't been to Sao Paulo for about 10 years. So I'm really looking forward to coming back and seeing all of you and having some amazing food.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ciao. Svet, do you want to come back in?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did I get cut off, or I was just at the end
froze.
giving a bit of
froze.
updates? Oh, okay. So just a couple of updates on what are we doing with data tech. So as some of you know, I picked up the lead last year, and we've been working throughout the year what we want to do with the group. So we're incorporating AI now as a key topic that we'll be covering.
Great.
We're signing a partner, which is a data platform vendor called Kibula, and we'll be doing two main events with them. One as a fringe event during London Tech Week, and another one in September. Very excited about this. And also we're in talks with Microsoft to do an event focused on Copilot and AI in general. So really excited about that. Yeah.
Super. Thank you, Svet. I thought I saw Helen from Tech Ireland Advocates have her hand up. Helen, are you still there? Maybe yes, maybe no. Okay. Well, hopefully she'll come back. Is there anything from anyone else before we wrap up the call? Raj, come on back, Raj.
Sorry, I was about to head, but I had a question. Do we have anyone in Bulgaria? Because hey,
yes.
big tech hub in Bulgaria.
Svet is from Bulgaria. There you go.
I'm from Bulgaria.
Okay, so Whip Ventures is heading out to Bulgaria in 2 weeks' time to meet the ecosystem, startups, corporates, professional services companies. Can we perhaps connect offline and
absolutely
perhaps let me know a bit more about scoping out the Bulgarian ecosystem and I think Sandrine or Sandra from Brazil. LATAM is on our roadmap as well, so I put two and two together, so I'm a bit jet lagged, and it'd be good to reach out to the various ecosystem partners when we make our way around the world.
That's great.
I'll speak to you about Bulgaria. Thanks.
Thank you. So Svet can help you on Bulgaria. We do also have, and they can't be on the call today, but Andrew and Emiliano, who run Tech Emerging Europe Advocates, which does include Bulgaria, Poland, Czech, Ukraine. They go all the way into Central Asia. Andrew was sending me notes from Uzbekistan a few months ago saying I have to come to Uzbekistan, the Central Asia tech hub of the region. So the things you pick up along the way. Anything from anyone else? I'm just scanning the screen for any hands, any comments.
Yeah,
Sandeep,
yeah.
did you go for it?
Yeah, no, I thought I'd just give an update. We're doing a piece of work with the Connected Places Catapult and Tech UK on how we can bring more innovation into the public sector procurement process. We're running a session in March, which is a precursor maybe to a number of events and activities afterwards. So We're going to see what comes out of that event or that roundtable event on the 6th of March. But just be aware, we're looking at how. So the idea very much is in public procurement, we're getting the same old companies doing the tenders, and it's the same old technologies. And the question is, why is innovation not getting through? We may know the answer, but its question is, how do we get more innovation through to that public procurement process? So we're running that roundtable, and then we're expecting a few actions or follow-up events happening after that. So just heads up, and if people are interested in that, doing public procurement, we could maybe get you involved in that.
That's great. Thank you for that, Sandeep. I did see Helen having her hand up again, but I've lost her again. I don't know if she's having connectivity problems. So Helen, if you can hear my voice, you're welcome to jump in. Otherwise, I think we might wrap up the call.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, can you?
I just have my hand, coordinated to my skin
I'm very.
tone.
Your hand is actually in the back, and then my eyes are going bad. I am very sorry, Suki, but your hand
That's
is in the
okay.
backdrop.
I'm quite patient. I'm willing to close out the call.
Excellent.
An ornament on your fireplace, Vicky.
Hey, But
Go for it, Suki.
two things. One, you did mention our Women in Tech event, which is around the new financial regulations. But I wanted to let everybody know that it will be at level 39. It is at 6 p.m. I apologize for being in conflict of who was that just mentioned they had an event, but yeah, hey, you know what? We're here first. Not to push you out the way or anything, but another thing I wanted to mention was if everybody could just post the links for their events in the significant WhatsApp groups, it would make it a lot easier for me personally to be able to either like their post or share their post, because I'm not really seeing everything all the time on LinkedIn, because just even though to make the WhatsApp group crazy, but it would just be nice to have one central location. If you know the time of your event, you can put it in there so we can put it in our calendar so we can push it out to our advocates. Makes it a lot easier, and that way it takes a little bit of the burden off of Russ, because as he said, he cannot be everywhere at all times. He cannot be online at all times, contrary to popular belief. Next thing is, thank you very much, Caroline, for always continually updating this calendar. Really appreciate it. Other things I wanted to say, no, I think that's it. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll be quiet now. But yes, the 6th of March for International Women's Day / week / month / all year round at level 39 at 6 p.m. And we will have some really great keynotes, and we always have good food. So please come. We do not want it to just be men, although, you have to be a staunch advocate to get in the door. So
thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
And actually, a really good reminder, we have a TLA events calendar. We have a GTA events calendar. Many times I see the events online and I have to follow up and chase to say, get it to Caroline. She'll put it in the events calendar. We've got 17,000 in the TLA database. We've got over 30,000 globally. So we really want to make sure people are going to those sites. And Tracy's just put a message in the chat to send her your number to join the GTA WhatsApp group. So her number's there, but we'll obviously, we're recording this session, and we'll pick up some of the comments in the chat. Anything from anyone else?
I have another thing, Russ.
Okay, yes.
I'm on a roll now. If anybody in the whole group happens to speak with David from London Tech Week, can you ask him to at least sort of give us an idea of what sponsored events they have on that week? I asked him, send him a question, but just in case somebody else gets there first, because it's nice so that when we do plan our events, we're not going up against a massively sponsored London Tech Week event. So if anybody gets that, get in there with that question. All right, I'll be quiet now.
I'll try and pick that up with him. We now have, being a kind of a key stakeholder, we're setting up, we've got a regular cadence of calls. So I'll try and really push him on that particular question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If there's nothing from anyone else, I'd be remiss not to say either Happy Lunar New Year or Happy Chinese New Year, which I think is now officially kicking off. So our friends across many parts of Asia are going to be quiet for the next week or so. But I want to wish them all the best for a great new year as well. And, you know, we've got so many things happening across this brilliant global network. And this is down to all of you, your leadership, your proactivity, what you're doing on the ground, and making sure that we capture that. We couldn't do things like Tech for Net Zero with Coldplay and GTA Launchpad without the great work that you're doing. So thank you so much for this. I'm hoping I'll get to see many of you during the course of the year, given my insane travel schedule. But and I hope to see many of you come this way for London Tech Week. So with that, thank you very much. We are recording the call. We will put it in the TLA and GTA YouTube channel if you want to go back and look, or look at the chat or whatever. That's there and available for you to do so. So thank you for that. I think Alvaro has left. I'm speaking with Alvaro and somebody else in Bogota in about 30 minutes. So my day's not done. Anyway, I hope yours is, and enjoy. Bye, everyone.
Bye all. Cheers. Thanks, Russ.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks all.